If the water stopped running tonight, most families wouldn't struggle because they ran out of food. They'd struggle because the toilet wouldn't flush, hands couldn't be washed, medications couldn't be mixed, and within just 72 hours, the entire house would start turning into a sanitation problem. What's even more dangerous is that many people think they're prepared simply because they have a few cases of water in the garage. But when the water supply truly runs out, what saves you isn't just water itself. It's the items that help you keep water clean, use it wisely, and protect your family from contamination. A trash bag can become an emergency toilet. A packet of ORS can help the body hold on to every precious sip of water. A waterproof document pouch can help you get medication, insurance assistance, or shelter when you need it most. And the surprising part is that most of these items aren't expensive. They're simply overlooked because they seem so ordinary. But on the day the faucet goes silent, those ordinary things can become priceless. 12. Heavy-duty trash bags. If someone told you that one of the most important items to have when the water runs out is nothing more than a roll of trash bags, a lot of people would probably laugh. That's before they spend a few days in a house with no running water, a toilet that won't flush, and a situation that starts slipping out of control. This isn't just a trash bag. It's a survival tool disguised as a roll of plastic. A heavy-duty trash bag can handle at least 6 different jobs. It can line an emergency toilet when the flushing system stops working. It can hold household waste, control odors, and reduce the risk of contamination inside the home. It can also protect backpacks, blankets, clothing, or electronics when you have to move through the rain. If necessary, it can be used to wrap important documents, serve as a ground cover when sleeping on a floor, or even create a simple rainwater collection point in an emergency. It's an item that costs less than a few dozen dollars, but can replace equipment that would cost much more. Not all trash bags, however, are created equal. One of the most common mistakes is grabbing the kitchen trash bags already sitting in a drawer. They're designed for light household waste and can tear easily when filled with wet waste or heavier materials. One small puncture is all it takes to turn an unpleasant situation into a real mess. If you want to prepare properly, look for contractor bags that are around 3 mm thick and hold at least 42 gallons. The thicker polyethylene material makes them stronger, more leak-resistant, and less likely to tear when dragged or moved. These are also the kinds of bags commonly used by rescue crews and construction workers in tough conditions. A box usually costs around $8 to $20, but it can last for many years, as long as it's stored in a dry place away from direct sunlight and excessive heat. The bags can maintain their quality for 5 to 10 years without any special maintenance. What's interesting is that during emergencies, the first thing that creates stress for many families isn't a lack of food. It's garbage, sanitation, and keeping the living space clean. And that ordinary roll of plastic becomes the first line of defense that helps keep a home functional and under control. Some items are purchased with the hope that they'll never be needed. But when the day finally comes, you won't care how much you paid for them. You'll simply be relieved that they were already sitting in the back of a closet. 11. ORS electrolyte packets. When the body becomes dehydrated, it doesn't just lose water. That's a fact many people only discover when it's already too late. After several hours of diarrhea, vomiting, or prolonged exposure to extreme heat, the body loses more than just fluids. It also loses sodium, potassium, and glucose, the components that help keep the heart, muscles, and brain functioning properly. That's why drinking large amounts of plain water isn't always enough. This is especially true for older adults, whose sense of thirst often comes more slowly than it used to. By the time they realize they need water, they may already be significantly dehydrated. The same goes for young children. Even a short bout of diarrhea can quickly leave them exhausted if fluids aren't replaced properly. During a prolonged heat wave in Arizona, a couple in their 70s spent hours inside their home after losing power. The husband kept drinking water because he felt dizzy and weak, but his condition didn't improve. In fact, he became nauseated and could barely stand. When medical personnel arrived, the first thing they reached for wasn't another bottle of water. It was an electrolyte solution. Only after receiving the proper balance of fluids and minerals did his condition begin to stabilize, allowing him to avoid an overnight hospital stay. That's one reason ORS packets consistently appear on emergency preparedness lists. Each small packet contains a balanced ratio of sodium, potassium, and glucose that helps the intestines absorb water far more effectively than plain water alone. They can be especially useful during diarrhea, vomiting, heat exhaustion, or long hours of outdoor work. Many people assume sports drinks or energy drinks can replace ORS. In reality, those products were designed for completely different purposes. Sports drinks often contain more sugar and do not provide the electrolyte balance specifically formulated to treat dehydration caused by illness. Another common mistake is mixing ORBs too strong under the assumption that more is better. In reality, you should always follow the water-to-powder ratio listed on the package for the best results. When shopping, look for products labeled oral rehydration salts, or WHO formula. A box typically costs between $8 and $15 and can be stored for 3 to 5 years if kept in a dry place away from moisture and not left inside a hot vehicle during the summer. Have you or someone in your family ever dealt with dehydration from extreme heat, diarrhea, or the flu? What helped you recover the fastest? Share your experience in the comments so others can learn from it too. 10. Food-grade water containers or water storage bags. Water can still be available during those final hours before it's gone. The question is whether you have anything to store it in. Imagine a storm is moving in. The news is telling people to stock up on water, so you turn on the tap and start preparing. The water is still flowing strong. It's still clean. It's still free. But a few hours later, the pressure starts dropping, and then it disappears completely. At that point, what determines whether your family has enough water for the next 3 or 4 days isn't how quickly you turned on the faucet. It's how many safe containers you have sitting at home. Many families don't run short of water because there's no water available. They run short because they have nothing clean and safe enough to store it in. When panic sets in, people often grab old milk jugs, soda bottles, or even containers that once held chemicals. They may look fine on the outside, but inside there can still be odors, sugar residue, milk proteins, or chemical traces left behind. In high temperatures, those leftovers can cause stored water to spoil more quickly, develop strange odors, or become unsafe to drink. The better choice is a food-grade water container or storage bag clearly labeled food-grade and BPA-free. These materials are designed for long-term contact with drinking water without affecting its taste or quality. If the container also includes a spout, dispensing water becomes much easier, especially for older adults who don't want to lift a heavy container several times a day. During an emergency, water doesn't just need to be clean, it needs to stay clean after you've collected it. These containers also make rationing much easier. Instead of opening one large container multiple times a day and increasing the risk of contamination, you can dedicate separate containers to specific purposes. One for cooking, one for drinking, one for basic hygiene. That simple system helps everyone stay calmer because each person knows exactly which water is meant for what. It's usually better to store several 5-gallon containers rather than one oversized tank. Once filled, each container is already fairly heavy but still manageable. For older adults, that matters far more than buying a giant container that nobody can move when it's actually needed. Before storing them, wash them thoroughly, allow them to dry completely, and seal them tightly to keep out dust and moisture. Kept in a cool place away from direct sunlight, a quality container can last 5 to 10 years. Most cost between $10 and $25 per container or storage bag. If your neighborhood were told tonight that the water would be shut off for 3 days, how many gallons of clean water does your family already have on hand? 9. Nitrile gloves. After a few days without water, your hands can become the most dangerous pathway for illness inside the home. The scary part is that you usually can't see it. A sealed trash bag, an emergency sanitation bucket, or even a countertop that was quickly wiped down can carry bacteria that are completely invisible to the naked eye. Imagine caring for an elderly mother at home while also handling garbage, preparing drinking water, and getting meals ready. Without gloves, those seemingly small tasks can start piling up into a very real risk. The moment those same hands are used to open a bottle of water, cut a piece of bread, or rub your eyes, the risk of contamination has already begun. That's why disposable gloves should never be treated as an optional item. During a water outage, they become a barrier between handling waste and protecting your family's health. Among the options available today, nitrile gloves are generally more dependable than latex. They're more durable, more resistant to punctures, and don't contain the natural rubber proteins that can trigger allergic reactions in some people. Choosing a powder-free version also helps avoid the fine residue that can irritate the skin with frequent use. Their usefulness goes far beyond caring for someone who is sick. They can be used when handling garbage, cleaning an emergency toilet, wiping contaminated surfaces, changing waste bags, or dealing with anything that shouldn't be touched with bare hands. If you have to handle waste or clean a higher-risk area, wear 2 pairs of gloves. When the job is done, remove the outer pair first, rolling the contaminated side inward before removing the second pair. That small step helps prevent the outside surface from coming into contact with your skin. One mistake many people make is washing gloves and reusing them. They look intact, so it feels like an easy way to save a pair. But a glove that has already touched waste and is later used to handle water containers or prepare food is essentially carrying germs throughout the house. When buying gloves, choose the correct size. Gloves that are too loose can slip off, while gloves that are too tight are more likely to tear. A box of 100 nitrile gloves typically costs between $10 and $18 and can last through many emergency situations when used wisely. To maximize shelf life, store them in a dry place away from direct sunlight and excessive heat. Under proper conditions, they can remain usable for 3 to 5 years before the material begins losing flexibility and becoming brittle. Some items don't create a single extra drop of water, but they can prevent a contaminated hand from becoming the reason an entire family ends up dealing with even bigger problems when life is already difficult enough. 8. Portable butane stove or camping stove. Having water doesn't always mean you have everything you need. Sometimes you need a way to turn that water into boiling water. Imagine the power is out for 2 straight days. Your family still has stored water, but there's no morning coffee, no hot bowl of porridge for an elderly parent, and no way to boil water for medication or sanitize a small spoon. At that point, what you're missing isn't water. It's a flame. That's why a portable butane stove consistently shows up on emergency preparedness lists. It's compact, but powerful enough to boil water, cook porridge, make noodles, heat soup, brew tea, prepare coffee, or sanitize essential items. Sometimes a single hot meal is enough to help an entire family feel calmer when everything else around them feels uncertain. For older adults in particular, maintaining familiar routines, a hot cup of tea or a warm bowl of soup, can provide far more comfort and stability than most people realize. Yet many people make the same mistake. They buy the stove but keep only 1 or 2 fuel canisters on hand. When supplies are disrupted or stores run out, the stove is still sitting on the shelf, but it can't do anything. A stove without fuel is just a piece of metal taking up space. If possible, consider storing 8 to 12 butane canisters for emergencies that may last several days. Don't plan for just one meal. Plan for multiple days of boiling water, preparing hot food, and reheating meals for the people in your home. More important than the stove itself is how it's used. Portable butane stoves should only be operated in well-ventilated areas, such as a backyard, balcony, or other location with good airflow. They should never be used in a sealed room or a closed garage, because carbon monoxide is colorless and odorless and can build up without warning. A quality stove typically costs between $20 and $50, while fuel canisters are sold separately at a relatively low cost. Stored in a dry location, away from excessive heat and protected from heavy impacts, the stove can last for many years. The fuel canisters can also be stored long-term under proper conditions. If the power went out tonight for the next 72 hours, how would your family cook its first hot meal? 7. Emergency toilet kit. During a water outage, the thing that can make a home feel unlivable isn't always thirst. Sometimes it's the toilet. On the first day, everyone assumes they can put up with it a little longer. By the second day, the toilet won't flush. Odors begin to appear, and everyone in the house starts avoiding the bathroom. During a water emergency, the toilet stops being a private issue. It becomes a sanitation problem for the entire household. That's why many families keep an emergency toilet kit on hand. You don't need expensive equipment. A 5-gallon bucket, heavy-duty liner bags, a snap-on toilet seat, some pine pellets or sawdust for moisture absorption and odor control, and a box of disposable gloves are enough to create a simple but effective solution. Place a liner inside the bucket, add a layer of pine pellets or sawdust to the bottom, and use it as needed. After each use, the material helps do more than just cover odors. It absorbs liquid and controls smells right at the source. When the bag is full, tie it securely and move it to a designated storage area away from your living space. This can be especially valuable for older adults or anyone with limited mobility. Instead of trying to find a temporary outdoor bathroom in the middle of the night or during bad weather, they can use a safe and private solution inside the home. Don't make the mistake of buying only a bucket and assuming you're prepared. Without liner bags and odor control material, managing waste becomes much more difficult, and sanitation problems can develop quickly. If you want to save money, you can easily assemble the kit yourself instead of buying a complete package. Once everything is gathered, store it inside the bucket itself. That way, when the time comes, all you have to do is remove the lid and start using it instead of searching for individual items. A complete setup usually costs between $20 and $40. The bucket and seat can last for years, while the liner bags and odor control material only need occasional replacement to stay ready for use. Some items don't make life more comfortable. They simply help life continue functioning when the comforts you rely on suddenly disappear. And that's when their true value becomes impossible to ignore. 6. Emergency water purification tablets. A small tablet won't make water appear, but it can determine whether that water is safe to drink. After a storm or during an evacuation, people often find themselves surrounded by water. Rainwater collected in a bucket, water from a stream, water left in a storage tank, or a small creek along the side of the road. It may look clear and clean, but the most dangerous things are often the ones you can't see. Bacteria, viruses, and other disease-causing microorganisms can exist in water that appears perfectly safe. And just one untreated drink can turn a difficult day into several miserable days of stomach cramps, diarrhea, or vomiting. That's where emergency water purification tablets become valuable. Most products available today use iodine or chlorine dioxide to kill harmful microorganisms. They won't turn dirty water into perfectly pure drinking water, and they're not a complete replacement for a water filtration system. But when you don't have electricity, don't have a stove to boil water, and can't carry large amounts of water with you, a small packet of tablets can become an important layer of protection. Using them is simple. Add the correct number of tablets based on the amount of water listed in the instructions. Seal the container, shake it, and wait the required amount of time before drinking. That waiting period isn't just for peace of mind. It's when the treatment is actually working. Don't assume water is safe simply because it looks clear after a few minutes. Clear water does not automatically mean safe water. If the recommended treatment time hasn't passed, harmful organisms may still be present. One helpful tip: if the water is very cloudy, run it through a clean cloth before adding the tablets. Purification tablets are designed to treat microorganisms, but they are not magic. They cannot remove mud, chemicals, or heavy metals. The biggest advantage of these products is their size. A small pack of purification tablets can fit inside a jacket pocket, backpack, evacuation kit, or medicine cabinet while taking up almost no space. They become especially useful when you have to leave home quickly and can't bring multiple heavy water containers. When shopping, choose products that come in sealed packaging with clear instructions and an easily readable expiration date. Prices typically range from $8 to $20. When stored in a cool, dry place away from moisture and excessive heat, they generally remain effective for 4 to 5 years, depending on the product. Sometimes the value of an item has nothing to do with its size. It comes from its ability to turn a risky water source into one more day of safety for your family. 5. Unscented wet wipes. When you can't take a shower, feeling clean is no longer about comfort. It becomes a health issue. After just a day or two without water, the body starts producing more sweat, dirt stays on the skin longer, and sensitive areas become more prone to irritation. By the third day, what starts wearing people down isn't always thirst. Sometimes it's the feeling of no longer being clean inside their own home. For older adults, the problem can be even more serious. Their skin is often thinner and slower to recover, which means redness, rashes, and skin irritation can appear much sooner than most people expect. That's when a pack of unscented wet wipes becomes surprisingly valuable. They're not a replacement for a shower, but they can help clean the body, wipe hands before meals, assist with elderly care, freshen up after physical activity, and reduce body odor when water is limited. Just a few minutes each day can help maintain a sense of comfort while reducing the buildup of bacteria on the skin. Not all wipes, however, are created equal. Many people choose heavily scented products because they assume they'll leave them feeling cleaner. In reality, fragrances and alcohol can dry out the skin, cause irritation, and make sensitive skin, especially for older adults, even more uncomfortable after repeated use. A safer choice is a product clearly labeled unscented, alcohol-free, and designed for sensitive skin. When using wipes, use a separate wipe for each area of the body and dispose of it immediately afterward. Avoid wiping multiple areas with the same wipe, since that simply moves bacteria from one place to another. A large pack typically costs between $3 and $8 and can last for several days. Once opened, make sure the lid or adhesive seal is closed tightly so the wipes don't dry out. If the package remains unopened and is stored in a cool location, it will usually stay usable for 2 to 3 years. If you had to go 3 days without running water, do you already have unscented wet wipes at home? 4. Bathtub. Water storage bags. A bathtub isn't just for bathing. During an emergency, it can become the largest water reservoir in your home. When a storm or water outage warning is issued, many people instinctively turn on the faucet and start filling the bathtub. The idea itself isn't wrong. The problem is something most people never think about. Bathtubs often have traces of soap, dirt, and bacteria left behind from daily use. Water stored directly in the tub is also more vulnerable to contamination and evaporation over time. That's why bathtub water storage bags were created. These are food-grade plastic liners that are placed inside the bathtub before filling it with water. The entire water supply remains sealed inside a protected container instead of coming into direct contact with the tub itself. This helps reduce contamination risks and slows evaporation for days at a time. What makes this product especially useful is its capacity. In roughly 20 minutes, a single bag can hold nearly 100 gallons of water, enough for drinking, cooking, and basic sanitation needs for an entire family over several days when used carefully. But timing is what matters most. This is not the item that saves you after the water stops running. It saves you during that short window when water is still flowing and people haven't yet realized how valuable every gallon is about to become. Don't wait until the water pressure starts dropping or the supply is almost gone before pulling the bag out of storage. Once pressure begins to fall, filling it may no longer be practical. Preparing early is always easier than trying to race against the clock. If you decide to buy one, choose a model that fits the size of your bathtub and includes a pump or spout for easier access to the stored water. Most cost between $25 and $40. While they are generally designed for one-time use after being filled, an unopened bag can remain ready for years if stored in its original packaging away from sharp objects and direct sunlight. If a long-term water outage were announced tonight, would the bathtub in your home remain just a bathtub or become the largest emergency water supply your family has? 3. Unscented bleach. The wrong bottle of bleach can be useless. The right one can help treat thousands of gallons of water. That may sound hard to believe, but during many emergencies, a simple bottle of bleach becomes one of the most important supplies in the house. The unfortunate part is that many people think they're prepared until they read the label more carefully and realize they bought the wrong type. Not all bleach is the same. For emergency disinfection and water treatment, look for regular unscented bleach containing approximately 5 to 6% sodium hypochlorite. This is the active ingredient that can kill many types of bacteria and disease-causing microorganisms. Products labeled scented, splashless, color-safe, or those containing added fragrances and other additives are not suitable for this purpose. In addition to helping treat water when used according to proper safety guidelines, unscented bleach can also be extremely useful for disinfecting surfaces, cleaning equipment, and sanitizing emergency toilet areas after several days without running water. That said, this is not a product where more is better. When treating drinking water, only use the correct type and follow the recommended dosage. Too little may not be effective, while too much can create health risks of its own. It's inexpensive, but it's not something that should ever be used by guesswork. One detail many people overlook is that bleach does not remain at full strength forever. Sodium hypochlorite gradually breaks down over time, especially when stored in hot conditions or exposed to direct sunlight. That's why it's a good idea to write the purchase date on the bottle and replace it every year so it's ready when needed. A gallon typically costs between $3 and $6, yet it can serve multiple purposes during an emergency, from household sanitation to supporting water disinfection when used according to proper guidance. Many items look completely ordinary sitting on a store shelf, but when clean water becomes a valuable resource, the right bottle of bleach is no longer just a laundry product. It becomes a quiet layer of protection between your family and the risks hiding in every drop of water. 2. Personal water filter. When water is still all around you, but you don't trust it enough to drink it, a water filter becomes the bridge between danger and survival. After a storm or during an evacuation, what worries many people isn't the lack of water. It's standing in front of a creek, a pond, or buckets of collected rainwater and not knowing whether any of it is actually safe. That's when a personal water filter becomes valuable. A filter doesn't replace stored water, but it extends your options when those stored supplies begin running low. Using an ultra-fine filtration membrane, these devices can remove sediment, many types of bacteria, and parasites from water, making it safer to use. For an older adult living alone, a couple evacuating their home, or a small family traveling by vehicle, it's one of the most useful items you can carry. A filter, however, is not a magic solution. Some models are not designed to remove viruses or chemical contaminants. In higher-risk situations, many people pair a filter with emergency water purification tablets to add another layer of protection. To get the best performance, collect water from a relatively clear source whenever possible. If the water is very cloudy, allow it to settle first, or run it through a clean cloth before filtering. This simple step helps extend the life of the filter and keeps water flowing more consistently. As sediment builds up, the flow rate will gradually slow down. Many people assume the filter is broken when, in reality, it often just needs proper cleaning and maintenance before it can continue working effectively. When shopping, look for well-known brands with clearly stated gallon capacities and straightforward maintenance requirements. Most personal water filters cost between $25 and $50, but a quality unit can process thousands, or even tens of thousands, of gallons of water over its lifetime. After use, avoid allowing the filter to freeze. Any water trapped inside can expand, damage the filtration membrane, and reduce performance the next time you need it. Some items don't create water, but they can help you look at a creek, a rainstorm, or a lake with a sense of confidence instead of uncertainty. 1. Waterproof document pouch for important papers. The last item on this list doesn't create water, but if you ever have to leave home, it may help prove who you are. Imagine you have only 10 minutes to evacuate. Your phone is down to 5% battery, the internet is out, and your wallet was accidentally left on the kitchen table. When you arrive at a shelter or assistance center, it won't be enough to tell people who you are. You'll need a way to prove it. That's why a waterproof document pouch is one of the smartest items a family can keep ready. Inside, keep photocopies of identification documents, insurance cards, a list of medications, emergency contact numbers, and any important home, vehicle, or medical records. For an older adult who relies on daily medication, a medication list can sometimes be more valuable than the wallet itself. A single waterproof pouch can protect your most important information during heavy rain, flooding, or a rushed evacuation. One of the most common mistakes is assuming everything is safely stored on a phone or in the cloud. But when the battery dies, cell service disappears, or you can't access your account. A simple paper copy often becomes the most reliable option you have. When shopping, choose a truly waterproof pouch with a secure closure and enough space to hold folded letter-sized documents and multiple records. Most cost between $8 and $20 and can last 5 to 10 years as long as the seal remains intact and the material isn't damaged. Every 6 months, take a few minutes to open the pouch and update medication lists, emergency contacts, and insurance information if anything has changed. A document pouch is only as useful as the information stored inside it. When life is normal, paperwork is just paperwork. But on the day you have to leave home with only a few minutes to spare, those documents may be what help you get medication, shelter, insurance assistance, and the support you need at the right moment. That's why this small and often overlooked item deserves the final spot on today's list. Perhaps the most valuable thing on today's list isn't a trash bag, a water filter, or a bottle of bleach. It's the ability to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. Being prepared doesn't mean living in fear. It means protecting your family before the unexpected happens. If today you choose to prepare just one item from this list, that's still one small step toward a more secure tomorrow. Thank you for staying with us all the way to the end of the video, wishing you and your loved ones safety, comfort, and peace of mind. And hopefully, every item we talked about today will remain right where it belongs, quietly sitting in the back of a closet, like a backup plan you never have to use.